So today I was thinking about how I haven't done Scorpio. And I think there are many reasons, but one is because I have a different take on Scorpio and I didn't know how it would really settle. But I'm done with wondering. So I'm going to tell you. When I think about Scorpio, I think of them as the alchemist. There is something just magical that radiates within them, and I know everybody hears this. But let's think about the actual scorpion. Did you know that their skeletal system glows in the dark at night? Well, under certain rays, but the moon can show it. They're also fiercely protective. As a matter of fact, out of the insects and if we spiders, the arachne, I think that's what you call them, species, they're the most loving mothers, like devoted. They carry their babies on their backs until, and this is for a long time, until they actually feel like they're able to be set free in everything they do, all day, every day, until they feel, and this can be at different times, that their babies are okay to be on their own. And they would rather not sting you. Yeah, I know, kind of like snakes. I get that. But they would rather flee than actually have to harm you. They don't really want the drama. What they want is depth. They want authenticity. They want no BS. And sometimes, as a result, they can feel a little bit, I guess, to just any old person who wants to remain surface level, that can be a little too deep and intense. But when you really think about it, we all have Scorpio in our charts. We all have a place where we protect what's sensitive to us, but also are looking for deep, deep meaning and truth. And we also have a place where we are the alchemist. There's something called Sabian symbols in astrology, and we don't really talk about it that much. I'm really interested in it, but kind of goes along with esoteric astrology. And there's a degree of Scorpio that is the 17th degree, but it tells a story that I think is so wonderful about Scorpio and helps you to really understand how this, regardless of your degree of Scorpio you have in your chart, how this sign really works. The 17th degree, it's going to sound crazy, but it's the woman who fathered her own children. So really, when you think about that, without even going deep into it, after you kind of know the energy of Scorpio, it kind of teaches you they're so loyal. And sometimes to the person that you would be like, oh my gosh, like, I never even knew y'all were friends, and you've been like paying their bills for years and helping them out, and they find the good in people based off of their intuition. They have incredibly deep intuition. They sniff out BS, and when they can't just sniff it out, that's when they dig. But they also want desperately to love, but they're not going to do it just for the sake of, like, you told me to. They're not going to play your games, or at least not for long. And if they have to, they'll love their own way. They're also strong. And one thing about Scorpio is, if you know anything about like modern versus traditional astrology, they were once ruled by Mars. So strong and fierce. And yes, in In modern astrology, they are seen as a little bit secretive and hidden and protective, sometimes possessive. But that that only goes so far into it. It doesn't tell you about how much they can transform. They are keen, like intuitives. Like I'm telling you, a Scorpio knows their limits. Even when their brain tells them, no, I can't do that, their intuition will kick in and do it. For instance, I don't know if I'll get into that story. It's a TikTok after all. But when a lot of people struggle with things that the world says, oh, you're going to need a lot of help getting through this. For some reason, Scorpio sometimes and often will hit rock bottom and be the rising phoenix afterwards, out of the blue. And you're like, how? And that's where the alchemist comes in. They take hurt and pain and transform through it. So, the woman who fathered her own children, it wasn't so much about not having the father around, but it was about being all she could be for her children and wanting that love so desperately that she was willing to look inside of herself and say, I'll do what I have to do. And that to me is probably one of the beautiful things about a Scorpio. You don't always see it. And I think people judge them very hastily because they're not showboats. They don't cry at the drop of a dime just because they think you want them to, unless, they can be sneaky sometimes. Survival's survival, and you can't judge that. Really. All of us have had crocodile tears. But that's not their game. They honestly would rather fall, scrounge to get back up, but do it because they knew they could, as opposed to settle or take pity or even get over on you. So that old story about the frog and the scorpion, I feel like that really is what gives Scorpio a bad rap. They can be jealous, and usually it's at things you've never seen. You didn't see it coming. You're like, why would you be jealous of that? But at their core, they want to be understood, and they want to feel like they're safe. And unfortunately, they live their lives often with people just too intimidated by how much they can see, basically. They see through us, and we don't like it. And then we blame them.